What's up? It's Tom. Thanks for being here. We'll do a little channel update a little later, but let's get to the baseball first, and it's been a couple days. So we are going to do a twin case you missed it and touch on Thursday and Friday's games before we get to Saturday's action. Twin case you missed it, Twins. Thursday, they lost 3-2 at Kansas City. Bailey Ober had a good and efficient start, and the Twins led 2-1 entering the seventh, but Cole Sands gave up the lead. The lineup was 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position and left 9 men on. Again, a 3-2 loss, a very tight game, a close game. Team pitched well. Really, that whole Kansas City series, the team pitched well, but just could not score. Some controversy regarding, Bailey Ober being taken out at 73 pitches, but I think, I trust Cole Sands after he had such a great last season. And, Ober has a history of pitching much worse in Kansas City, so I kind of understood the idea to kind of take what you got from him and turn to your bullpen that you trust, but obviously it didn't work. And when you only score 2 runs, it puts a lot of pressure on your pitching staff. Yesterday, Twins lost 7-6 at home to the Tigers. Paid attendance on a Friday was less than 13,000. Rough. You see that midweek, certainly at the Kansas City series, they didn't draw much, but that was during the week. Friday weekend series, that's a different story. David Festa was called up. He pitched well, but again, only 64 pitches. He covers 4 2/3. Twins led this one 4-1 entering the 6th inning. Jorge Alcala gave up the lead in that one. The lineup was 3 for 12 with runners in scoring position and left 11 men on base. Scored 6 runs, so you hope that's enough in that one. But then, the days where they just didn't get enough runs, but they had decent pitching, they lose, and then they finally score some runs, but they don't get the pitching there. So it's just it's tough. Now, twin case you missed it in the minor leagues. On Thursday, Christian McLeod and Pearson Ole started rehab assignments for Fort Myers. They're trying to get back to Double-A Wichita. Austin Martin exited the Saints game with a hamstring strain he suffered in center field chasing down a ball. It looked pretty rough. Marco Raya only went 2 innings through 50 pitches for the Saints on Thursday. Manuel Rodriguez had a nice game, going 2 for 4 with a double and a couple of walks. All right, so Friday. Last one before we get to today, Charlie Soto was excellent. And if you want to read more about Friday's action in the minor leagues, I wrote the Twins minor league report. Go check that out, and those are available daily. But Charlie Soto, 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 6 strikeouts on 66 pitches through 2/3 of his pitches for strikes. Luke Keeschel had his first AAA homer. Caden Kendall had a big game. Billy Amick had a big game. But the thing that kind of really pulls out of that Cedar Rapids game was that Raindon Cone and Kalen Culpepper, both hit the injured list today. Don Cone suffered some kind of a core injury on a swing, and Kalen Culpepper has a wrist injury. So I don't know that either of those are all that serious, but we don't get a ton of injury information as far as severity goes from the minor league side. All right, so jumping forward to today, the Twins lost again today, 4-0 to the Tigers. Chris Paddock pitched reasonably well, definitely better than he has, giving up 2 runs, only 1 earned over 5 innings, struck out 5 on 93 pitches. He wasn't particularly efficient, but you take that out of Chris Paddock. You take that out of a bottom of the rotation starter. But again, the Twins were shut out. Carlos Correa had a hit, a double. That was like the big offensive, highlight. The Twins only struck out 5 times, but only got 4 hits. So again, it's an interesting thing to where the Twins are making a lot of contact, but they just have nothing to show for it. And the lineup was 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. That's just not even a lot of opportunities. Only 5 at-bats with runners in scoring position. That's hard, next to nothing. There was a really weird play in this game in the 8th inning. Jose Miranda got a pinch hit single, and then it appeared that he was thrown out at second on a ground out. But we can't really see it from this angle, but Detroit's second baseman didn't have his foot on the bag. But you see Jose, the throw beat Jose by a mile. He's barely in frame there. But umpire calls him safe. I don't know if he actually said safe out loud, but he's right in front of Jose, and Jose just assumed he was out. And, well, he was after he wandered off the base and was tagged out. Rough, right? Not the difference of the game, of a 4-0 game or anything, but just salt in the wound of a Twins team that's playing poorly, and then they have just bizarre things like this happening. Justin Morneau, I thought, was really caring in his analysis of this. He pointed out that you assume you're out 99 times out of 100 on that play in the big leagues, and just kind of a hard hard thing to imagine what happened or, react too strongly. Now, Jose Miranda was demoted after this game, so it's kind of easy to look at this and say, well, that was the final straw right there. And maybe it was, but at the same time, I mean, it's not like Miranda had been playing well or has been in the good graces of the Twins. They signed Ty France to a non-guaranteed $1 million deal and said he's our starting first baseman, despite Jose Miranda just sitting there. And he only has been playing so much because both Royce Lewis and Brooks Lee have been hurt. As you see at the bottom there, silver lining is Brooks Lee is expected to be activated. So that's great news. And really, with Brooks Lee back, there's not a ton of playing time for Jose Miranda. You could maybe argue that this should have been Mickey Gasper going down. But he catches. I don't know that he's a catcher, but he catches, and Ryan Jeffers is a little banged up right now. So, makes sense to hang on to Mickey Gasper with that being the case. And again, Miranda's just been terrible. He hasn't hit. He hasn't run the bases well, as we saw there. He hasn't really fielded well. He's not doing anything well. And it's so disappointing because, again, the Twins really weren't leaving much of a door open for Jose Miranda before these injuries popped up. So this was a huge opportunity for him to show, hey, I'm still a part of this team. I'm still in the picture. You guys should be making plans for me. And he did the exact opposite. He played terribly. He hit terribly. He didn't play well in the field. He didn't run the bases well. Super disappointing. In Jose Miranda, and he'll go down to AAA, and who knows when we'll see him again. It's probably going to take another injury or two. Certainly, it doesn't matter what he does with the Saints. He could have a 2,000 OPS, and the Twins aren't going to be like, oh, let's make room for this guy. It is what he's just down the depth chart now, and it's just going to have to wait for another opportunity to present itself. And by then, Luke Keechel's probably going to be the guy they turn to. So he's in big trouble, big trouble. Really disappointing he couldn't take advantage of this opportunity. Shifting gears to the minor league action here, all the minor league starters. I called it Southpaw Saturday Night with Connor Prelip going for the Wichita and Dasan Hill going for the Mighty Muscles. Prelip, struck out 5 in his 2 2/3 innings. We know not to expect a whole lot of innings or a lot of pitches. He threw 55 pitches in that outing. But 5 hits, 3 runs, only 2 earned. That's a little bit more damage than I would hope Connor Prelip would be given up in 2 2/3 innings. Still early yet, but this is a guy who has just really dominant stuff. Can really do some special things with the baseball, and would like to see, even though, again, we're not expecting him to throw 7 shutout innings or something, would really love to see him dominate for 3 innings in a start for the Wind Surge here coming up. But again, it is early. Dasan Hill, this was only his second professional start. He strikes out 6 over 3 1/3 innings, only gives up 3 hits and a run. Did walk a couple guys, wasn't super sharp, but 6 strikeouts in 3 1/3 innings. Again, this is a teenage guy. You can kind of look at him as we did Charlie Soto last year, in that, the results, you can kind of take the results, but say he's not the results. You could say that about a lot of minor leaguers in particular, but the guy's this young, pitching in the pros for the first time. So just the fact that he strikes out 6 in 3 1/3 innings is great. And it's not like he pitched poorly. Only 3 hits, 1 run, walked a couple guys. So Dasan Hill's career is off to a really fun and exciting start. Lefty for the Mighty Muscles. Good to see out of that. Moving over to the hitters, as you see here, Rubel Cespedes had another big game. He's in Wichita for the first time, up in AA for the first time, doing some damage for them. Kyle DeBarge, 3 for 5 with a triple and 2 stolen bases, so just wreaking havoc there for the Colonels. If there's, I guess, a silver lining to the Don Cone and Culpepper injury news, it's that their infield sure got a lot less complicated. They had, I was saying they have 6 guys for those 4 infield spots. They were kind of rotating and giving some guys some days off, and now with Don Cone and Culpepper out, it's pretty clear who the guys are going to be there. Angel Del Rosario had a couple hits and a stolen base in the game-winning RBI for the Mighty Muscles. This is the guy the Twins drafted in the minor league phase of the Rule 5 draft prior to last season, and this is his 4th year in the Florida State League. He was with Toronto. And he was there with Toronto, and now he's been there with the Twins, a guy who, I'm rooting for him to get to Cedar Rapids at some point. Plays a bit of infield and outfield. So, hopefully he can play well and get promoted just to move out of Florida. So there we go. The results: Twins lose again 4-0. Saints lost 7-5. I was at the game today. That's why I'm all decked out in my Saints gear. Had a great time. It's pretty easy to be down on baseball, down on the Twins. I really encourage you, if you haven't before, go check out CHS Field. It's a ton of fun. I was there with my family. I think it's incredibly kid-friendly. If you have kids, I think, and you've maybe struggled at Target Field or at other sporting events, check out a game at CHS Field. Lots of fun stuff to do. It's much smaller, than a big-time pro stadium. It's very intimate. We had the best time. I love it there. The Saints did lose, though, 7-5. Surge, Colonels, and Muscles all won, though, so stepping it up. So, and again, Del Rosario with that game-winning hit. It was a 2-1 game, so it was a big hit for him. Moving on over, wanted to circle back. Again, mentioned there was going to be a channel update. I am taking steps to dispute the copyright claims I've had. In case you missed it, I talked about that in my last video. Took a couple days off of system recaps to think what I wanted to do. And it's scary because those two things I highlighted, the claimant will be able to review my video and dispute the rationale. And if the claimant determines that this is a fraudulent dispute, it may result in my channel being terminated and my YouTube account altogether being terminated. So the fact that I submitted that dispute will tell you I'm fairly confident how things are going to go. In the meantime, I'm just going to take it one day at a time. And to be honest with you, I hope to reach out to someone with MLB Advanced Media and start a dialogue with them and come to an understanding together. It might not happen. They have 30 days to review that, and they might not even bother to. I don't think they even do. They don't run this. They it's a third party that they contract out to do this stuff. I'm almost positive. So we'll see what happens. I don't want to go get too deep in the weeds there. I'm just going to take these recaps day by day. As you may have noticed, no highlights today, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be any highlights, maybe tomorrow. But again, I wanted to just thank you all so much for the kind words and support from that video where I kind of explained, hey, here's what's happening. Here's why you're not going to see me for a couple days. And here's why the system recaps might look a little different for a while. And you all were so supportive and so kind. And it was a tough day for me, especially coming off a bunch of technical issues that really made it hard to get that video that got claimed out. It's down in the dumps, and you guys helped drag me out. And just thank you so much. I really appreciate the community and my audience here. You guys are wonderful. I really appreciate you. So, we'll just take it a day at a time. That's really, to use that baseball cliche, that's what we're going to do here. And, again, just because we did things a little bit different and there weren't any highlights today doesn't mean there might not be tomorrow. Just going to, again, take it a day at a time, maybe try some things here, try some things there. Also kind of trying to maybe be on my best behavior here while we're in that potential review period, to be completely honest, even though I'm confident. You can never be too confident. So either way, thanks for being here today. We'll talk again tomorrow.